Have you ever had that one person in your life that you get real sad over whenever it's their time? You could go your whole life never truly acknowledging someone's passing, whether it be like a close friend that could start it, make you realize, someone close to the family, a friend, a colleague, or even just a film actor, a musician, anything like that, that can really make you think about death and how much someone truly meant to you. Last year, that definitely started that for me. This time last year, on June 9th, 2014, Rik Mayall passed away in his English home. Paramedics were called to the scene, but he was already announced dead. Even though it was never officially stated what caused it, it was believed by his surviving wife that it could have been from a cardiac arrest from a run that he had that earlier morning. How it happened, that's not really the main concern. What's important is that this great comedian died exactly a year ago today, and it doesn't feel that way. It just still feels like I was back at my apartment where I used to live a year ago. I was scrolling through Digital Spy, and then all of a sudden it said in bold red letters, Rik Mayall passed away at the age of 56. I can still remember that. I was heartbroken. I was speechless. I've seen actors and musicians that I respected pass away, like Michael Jackson, George Carlin, etc., that passed away. I was sad, but I was not sad in the sense that, I was affected. Rik truly meant something to me in terms of how I view comedy and how it influenced me, in a sense. Most people will recognize him as the loud, childish, even annoying character that he would go about in his comedic routine, like in The Young Ones, Bottom, and even in his stand-up. Which, I won't lie, that kind of drew me in, and it hasn't gone ill for me even today. But he did other stuff too, whether it be comedic or dramatic. And that's the great surprise you would find about Rik. Even though you can see him as this loud comedian that isn't going to grab everyone, he does have his moments. Drop Dead Fred was a good example. There was a scene near the end where he had to say goodbye to the protagonist, and it's one of the true genuine scenes where he can act. He can draw an emotion, you can feel sorry for him. That, for me, when I saw that movie years later, was amazing. And it's just amazing seeing all the stuff that he's done, and so many ways he can convey his humor for any kind of people, children, adults, whatever. They have truly affected a lot of people the way he did it. I can't think of a single person in the traditional community of British men that say he's the most annoying person in the world, or that his style was stale. But he did have his critics. Spike Milligan apparently was disapproving of Rik's performance whenever he started out in The Young Ones. He was quoted as saying, "Rik Mayall is putrid, absolutely vile. He thinks nose-picking is funny and farting and all that. He is the arsehole of British comedy." And Spike Milligan, God rest his soul, is entitled to that opinion. He's not wrong. That's generally what Rik's humor is intending for the most part. Just nose picking and screaming and getting hit with inanimate objects. That is more or less his style of humor. So it's amazing how I really got into that. Because he has appeared a lot in my life, Rik Mayall has. I think I officially took notice of him in the PlayStation game Hogs of War, where he voiced the majority of the characters you could play. That's when I was like, oh, I like this guy's voice, if only I could have seen his work, etc., etc. Luckily for me, years later when I was in college, this was around the time where I was buying DVDs, video games left and right. That was my drug. I took notice of a couple of videos actually, but one in particular on YouTube when it was starting out, that someone spliced together footage of Thomas the Tank Engine and an audio clip even from The Young Ones. I think it was the Sick episode, the opening scene of that. I was so enthralled, even if it was in audio form, like, is this really what adults enjoy? I gotta see what the fuss is about, and like, so I ordered the second series because I have a weird pattern. I always start with a second series or a second season with TV shows or whatever. Just watching it all the way through, I don't think I ever laughed so hard in my life. I don't think I just, even watching it like 8 years ago, the jokes would still stick to me. Every scene is just like, wow, that just stuck with me. And it's not just Rik who really stuck up to me. Nigel Planner, Christopher Ryan, Alexi Style, and even hit Rik's bestest friend and collaborator, Adrian Edmondson. They all stuck out to me. Rik in particular I was fond of because, like, I don't know, he just sort of seemed the sort of guy, like, he would be in my family. Like, sometimes when I look at him, I see my mother in there. I know that sounds weird, but like, it's true. I say that in a good sense as well. And even my mother is like, Young Ones was definitely the show for her where she could recite in and out. No problem. And like, after seeing both seasons, I can see why. It's definitely very silly humor, like, out of nowhere, like, all that good stuff, but like, I love it. It's a real guilty pleasure for me, and it's a kind of humor that I use even to this day. While The Young Ones was definitely the show for my mother, I can safely say that Bottom was definitely my show. It was definitely the mix of slapstick, of silly childish humor, of all that stuff. For me though, it never got to the point where it was insulting. Yes, it was silly, but like, I have a certain level of tolerance where if I don't like it, I'll just switch it off. Thankfully, Rik and Aid just kept that perfect balance for these characters and the scenarios that they would get into. It's just amazing to me. And thinking on it years later, these are characters that you should hate. They're selfish, they're ignorant, they care for no one, they don't care for each other, so why would you follow them? Well, my argument is, they only have each other. And I don't mean that romantically, of course. Without one or the other, they have nothing. They have nothing to live for. They just exist perfectly with each other. Even if they don't see it, they need each other. And that's one way to look at it. But like, with all the jokes and all the slapstick and all that good stuff that goes into that show, all 3 seasons, which is amazing, it really stuck out to me. And I'm thankful for YouTube as well, like, seeing all the stuff he's done, not just for comedy, but like for children. Like, I even did a preschool guy tribute to Rik Mayall. I'll leave an annotation somewhere or a link, but like, the character I play for that show was so influenced by Rik too, for the children's programs. For me, I love everything that he's done. And I know he's influenced a lot of people too, like Simon Pegg, Matt Lucas and David Walliams, Ricky Gervais even. These people were influenced by Rik, the same way Rik was influenced by, say, Monty Python. That's amazing. If a comedian does that and like goes on to like influence further comedians, then that is amazing. And I know his colleagues like Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie, Emma Thompson, Ben Elton, and of course Adrian Edmondson. They'll definitely tell you, like, even though like his style was different from what they would go on to, he was still their friend, and definitely respected in the field of comedy in a sense. And Rik definitely did a lot for me too. I know I can say a lot because like I'm not that big on the interwebs, even though I do post a lot of stuff. I'm not probably gonna be remembered as the guy that like is clever or smart or like well thought out in a sense. I'm just gonna be the stupid, loud, childish person. But that's what greatly influenced me the most. Even though in real life I can be quiet, I can be like, well, nice even, that's described by people. In my comedy, I will generally go for like the cartoonish slapstick and like the childish characters, because like that's who I fell in love with the most. Rik Mayall was definitely proof of that. So sir, it's been a year, but rest in peace. My only regret is that I never got the chance to see you in person, never got to tell you how much you influenced my style, for even if it was just for a minute, just let you know that you meant the world to me. You still do. There was a point where you were the world to me, and today you're a great comedic influence. I'm just sorry that I didn't get the chance to do that. And I know a bunch of people would feel that way too, in their own way, so you're never truly gone, Mr. Mayall. You're gone in body, but your spirit, your soul, what you left behind in your projects, they're not gone. They'll never be gone. And I thank you for that. So, in the spirit of Rik Mayall, take care, guys. Ow. Oh, oh. Oh no, oh no. Oh my god. Oh. Oh! Oh, I forgot that part. Oh no, oh no. Oh. That's still funny 20 years later. Oh! Damn it! No. Oh. Good stuff.